So Matt Green is a Christmas light installer in my own city. So me and him are competitors. And so me and him are competitors. Actually, last year he gave me 5 jobs. So because he only has a small service area. Well,
Yep.
I have a pretty big service area, so maybe I should take some notes. But there was, I think, 5 customers, and I think 3 of them ended up signing with us. The other 2 decided not to renew. But a company went out of business in Indianapolis this year. Didn't necessarily go out of business, but they decided it wasn't their business model, and they're a
Yep.
landscaping company. So Matt reached out to me and asked me if I'd service them there in Greenfield to all the customers. So happily took over the customers. So
Well,
um,
your guys' warehouse is in Greenfield, so it makes total sense.
all my customers. So I moved out to Greenfield 3 years ago now, and I have almost no customers out there. So he helped me get a more of a footprint there. So
Yeah.
how,
Well, it
how
made
close
sense.
how close do you live to your warehouse?
45-minute drive. I can almost drive to your warehouse as fast as it takes me to drive to mine. I
Well,
live
your
in
warehouse,
Millville.
you're in a good location. Your warehouse.
Yeah, we're at the northwest corner. We're right on 465, so we can get to 465 in like 2 or 3 minutes. So we can go north, south, anywhere we want pretty fast.
Well, in
But
case
you pay a pretty penny to be in that location, unfortunately.
well, I can tell you that Matt Green. A lot of you guys have never heard of him, but you guys are probably going to hear more of him. At least in Indianapolis, he has taken over. So I probably need to take some notes from him. He is cleaning my clock. So up on the north
I
side,
want to know about
well,
that.
all the money is up on the north side of Indianapolis. So if you and the thing is, he is really into. I believe you're growing a lot commercially. Is that correct? We have some commercial projects.
Yeah, we have some commercial projects. We want to grow more commercially. Um, I think it's a pro and a con, but when you grow commercially and add commercial to it, and you can put your stake on the name of this business, like you have one of my favorite places. I wish was one of my customers because I'd have signs all over that damn place, and you have all these people, this traffic that's going in and out. And if you can find your customer avatar, who that customer avatar is, and you can service the buildings, the restaurants, the places that those types of people shop, and your customer avatar is going in and out, and you can put your sign right there and maybe even give that restaurant or whatever it is some form of a discount or a kickback for, hey, every single person that comes through here that signs up with us, we will give you a kickback. Like, man, that how much easier is it to get residential clients when you can start taking over more commercial places?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That's the diamond place that I do probably.
100%. And
I
like
never thought
all
of that.
those people shop there.
See, look, I've actually so by running these groups, I always learn from other people. But you just gave me. I mean, I don't even put yard signs or nothing out there. But those are high end customers. They're my avatar of a customer that I would like. So if I put
Absolutely. I would have yard signs out there. I would hire somebody that understands Facebook really well, and I would geotag that location. Every single person that goes in there to buy a diamond ring or whatever, they would start getting served all my Facebook ads for the next 3 weeks or a month. And they would just
man,
see my stuff constantly.
well, so you're that gets my wheels going because also I do a Cadillac dealership and those are my ideal customers. Everyone buying a Cadillac, those I would
I
love to
drive
talk
past that Cadillac dealership every day coming
and
home.
they're one of my favorite customers. I worked for them for a long time. I'm sure I could probably put some signs. I just wow. I guess I'm not as proactive trying to figure out the best way to market.
Or okay, so take this. These people, this Cadillac dealership is trying to sell cars, right? It's Q4, it's a big sales season for them. What if you gave them a discount, right? A discount code or a flyer that every single car that they sold came with this value pack. And part of that value pack is Christmas lights on your house. Turn in this coupon and get $500 off your Christmas light installation when you buy a car. So they buy a car and instantly they buy this car and they get this deal from you. And when they call and they say, hey, I just bought this Cadillac and yada, yada, yada. And they said I can get $500 off of my Christmas light installation. All right, cool. Maybe you build that into your price. That $500 is built into the price. You give them a deal, and they feel like they won. And now you have all these people that also it didn't cost you anything to acquire those customers. You didn't have to pay Google. You didn't have to pay Facebook. You didn't have to pay anybody. You
Man,
know,
so I gave a quote to a cigar shop. It's a high-end cigar shop up on the north side last year, and I probably could have worked something in where if they somehow promoted it, because they're the ideal customers, everyone that's using that cigar shop. It was a high-end cigar shop that people hang out at and smoke cigars in. But man, I guess I'm leaving a lot of potential, because it's hard to get one of the customers that I really want. But those I have some customers that definitely, like the Diamond place, the Cadillac dealership. I'm starting to think of a couple places. I got to try to figure out a way to get my.
like we strategically go after certain places, and we took over the contract for the Goddard schools around town. So there was a few that aren't ours. I think one of them might be yours. That is going to be our customer next year. And so we have like 6 of them, and they're just outlasting the contract that they currently have. And then they'll all be on a multi-year lease with me. And that is, both of my the reason I got it is because both of my daughters go to the Goddard school, and we pay them an absolute fortune.
Wow.
And so we got into their inside group. But think about the Goddard school, like all of those families. I'm not saying that we have a lot of money, but all those people that can spend $400 a week per kid to go to their school, they have the disposable income to have lights on their house. So why don't we do their install, put signs in the yard, and give them a discount code for all the families that go to that school? Like that's genius. Because most of our families, they buy because their kids love Christmas lights. Maybe the wife does. The husband could care less typically. It's the wife thing, and the wife doesn't want the husband on the roof. But the wife wants the kids to experience the same Christmas magic that she experienced. And so if you can get it in that context and get the kids to love it, like we literally had a job, it was like $3,000 this year for a house. And the guy said, "Hey, I can't afford it." And we're like, we understand. We'll keep your lights, on the shelves for another year. Literally 2 days later, he called me back. He said, "Put them up." And I was like, "Well, what changed?" He goes, "My daughter won't stop asking me when the lights are going up, and I can't tell her no."
So anyone that's in the group here that's new to Christmas lights, you have to define your avatar. And so
100%.
yeah, this is Matt Green is actually taking it next level. Like he has not only defined his avatar. So you want a lot of people think, well, we want higher end customers. Like you don't want a person making $20 an hour. I mean, part of the failure of my Christmas light business for a number of years, I never defined my avatar. And I literally was just marketing wherever. And I was getting calls from all over the city, and everyone's saying I was way too expensive. And like I'm these guys that make $20 an hour are not my customer, but I didn't understand that. So then they're like, "Well, you're here for an hour and you're making like $300 an hour." Like they really start to but what that means, you're probably working for the wrong customer. So when I started to realize that, look, this is not a service for everyone. This is a luxury service. But one thing you just pointed out was that it's not just that they're higher income earners, but that they have kids. Kids are the driving force behind Christmas lights. People are trying to make memories for their families. So sometimes it's the grandparents that are having their grandkids over for the Christmas, so they want their house all decked out. That might be harder to figure out, that avatar, but at least higher income. But going to the schools, like the private schools that the parents have the disposable income, like they're spending money on their kids. One, they got kids. That's like the biggest thing. They got disposable income. That's like a home run.
We will literally do special deals for these types of places. And I won't lose money on a job, but I won't make the same type of money that I typically will. But I will go under our normal budget to get some of these places because I know the potential that place could lead us, to the next place. And the Goddard School is a fantastic example. We gave them a killer deal. And, because I know that the potential is not the Goddard School. The potential is all the families at the Goddard School that could become our customer. That's where our bread and butter is.
Well, so
the Goddard School is just a display for us.
So he's thinking more. This is more the long play. Like he's willing to sacrifice a year for the down the road. And you'll probably actually money even the first year, even if you lose money on one particular
Oh, we
job.
make money every year, but maybe not as much as a high-end residential house.
Right, but if you're doing the long game, like, especially if those parents, they all start talking in the same school system, that would be yeah, a small school. I guess that really gets me thinking about, yeah, different kinds of strategy, but that's really smart. I try to go to neighborhoods where I know they have kids. Gated communities sometimes don't have too many kids, and I have found they don't do quite as many lights in gated communities as ones that I still got some really nice jobs in gated communities, but the ones where everyone's doing it, they usually have kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah, you want to attack. I mean, not attack. I guess that's a bad word, but you want to go after the places that have kids with disposable income. So just think about, where does a family that has disposable income, that have kids, where do they go? Where do they shop? What kind of sports do these kids play in? Where, what do they do after school? And go to those places, and that's where you want to start marketing at. So then you can get them to, if I can get a business owner to love me and want to talk about me, I would almost do his lights for free. Almost. I mean, I'm not going to, but I would almost do it for free just so I can tap into his network. It's like,
So
for like, we do lawn care in the off season, so we do fertilization, weed control, and I can't go and acquire all the customers I want because I don't have enough money. So, but all of these customers have something in common. They typically have somebody that mows their lawn for them.
where do I find the comments?
So if they have somebody that mows for them, I need to go partner with all of these mowing companies around town, befriend them, take them out to lunch, all these kinds of things. And then maybe that mowing guy has 100, maybe 150 mowing accounts. And if I become that person's friend, then that person will send all of his work to me. And then I can subcontract and grow 10 times faster. And it doesn't cost me anything to subcontract for him. Maybe a little bit of margin, but I didn't have to pay $100, $150 to acquire each of those customers that he sent me. And it's the same idea for Christmas lights. Who can you partner with that can accelerate your growth 10 times faster?
Well,
And
so the thing is, so a lot of people in the group don't know who Matt Green is, but the thing is, he's not talking low level stuff. Like his company is growing very rapidly in Indianapolis, but the thing is, they're not the cheapest people. Like I was hearing they are one of our biggest customers. But the thing is, he buys probably more mini lights than almost any of our customers, at least in the Indianapolis area for sure, but almost nationwide. He buys a ridiculous number of minis. And I was like, where do these all go? And he said he puts them through his formula, and people are paying a lot of money for those minis. I don't know if he wants to say,
yeah,
but much more than what I charge for minis.
or
He has
$50 a strand.
$50 a strand. So how
Yep.
many people in our group would happily put up? I know everyone hates mini lights. They hate bushes. They hate trees. But if you're putting them up at $50 a strand,
I
I
love
mean,
them.
that's like competing with running lights on roofs. Running lights on roofs would have a tough time keeping those kinds of numbers because $50 a strand, they would add up really quick.
Oh yeah, we had the house last year. It was $10,000 residential install, and 70, I think 7,800 of it was all mini lights.
Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, he's been
He
his job.
happily wrote us a check.
I would happily take some of his customers. His customers are premium customers. So so that part of the thing is you're defining your avatar. So, but how many of your customers are coming from direct referrals, or how much are they coming from paid ads?
Um, I don't know. I guess I probably should have looked that up before I came on, but we do get a lot of our stuff from Google AdWords. A lot of our business. Um, we made a mistake last year that we spent way too much money on Google AdWords, and we couldn't keep up with all the leads. I mean, I just remember one day we got 86 phone calls, but we spent $40,000, I believe, in November just on AdWords alone.
Wow.
And we couldn't keep up with it. And I had no idea until it was too late in the season that we needed to have like 6 or 7 people in the office just doing designs, just to keep up with the lead flow. But so we spend a tremendous amount of money on Google Ads. We're not going to spend nearly that much money this year on Google Ads. I learned my mistake last year. But we're going to tap into the referral a lot more and call every single customer, who can you refer us? You know, and
So I'll tell you when we first start. Okay, so I've been in Indianapolis for I think this might be my 14th season or 14th year. It might be my 15th, somewhere around there. But I was spending $5,000 to $10,000 a year on Facebook, sometimes 15,000 on Google Ads uh, and Facebook marketing, and I was spending way more than I think any of my competitors. And I was too stupid to realize I wasn't making any money. But we don't really spend any money on marketing anymore, and I'm still getting probably in November 20 to 30 leads just from referrals. So like marketing gets your company jump started, but after a while your company, if you do good work, top notch work, and you do you're going to get a lot of referrals. Now if you're trying to grow aggressively, referrals is going to take too long, but at some point your company gets so big that you're getting a lot of referrals.
oh yeah, and if you play the referral game correctly, what does that person get out of the referral? And we put yard signs in every single yard. I know some people love putting yard signs at the street corners. We did it last year. We don't get any calls from the street corners, but we do get calls from signs in people's lawns. Absolutely, we get signs like when you can show this is our work and here's the phone number, people will call for sure. But we never have. I mean, I know some people, they're like, oh, put up 200 yard signs a week during Christmas light season, and then you'd go to every single street corner in Indianapolis of anywhere that has any value, and there's 13 there's 13 yard signs on every single street corner, and it's like, I can tell you right now, I'm not doing that this year. Maybe somebody will, maybe you will, but I'm
Well,
not doing it.
okay, so when I was in Indianapolis 10 years ago, when I
That
put
would
a
have worked.
sign up in a yard, like people would call and be like, "Someone does it here. I can't believe it. I moved from another state and like no one does professional lights." And that a lot of my conversations started that way. So that's just like, wow, yard signs really work. And man, you could I didn't know what I was doing, but I could have just blanketed the city with yard signs and really, but I was also charging $2 and $3 a foot. I was
Yeah, that's almost what it costs. I mean, the materials.
but I would just work faster. I would just put my head down and put more lights up, and I was
Well,
not getting.
when it's just you, it's deceitful because when it's just you doing it, you don't really have payroll to pay. Like you have your own money, but you don't have a weekly payroll that you have to pay other people every week. You don't have to take money every single week out of your business, So it's an illusion at that rate that you're making money because you see money stacking up, but you don't see all the payroll going out. Like our payroll is over 10 grand a week, and I can't afford to pay that on $2.50 an hour. $2.50 a foot.
I couldn't. Yeah, and even a one man show might be able to do $2 to $3 a foot, but I mean, material is going to cost you $1.50 if you're booking early. But most people one man shows are not thinking ahead. But I used to think, well, I'm not making money this year, but next year I'll make money. But that's not accounting for growth because you're going to have to pay someone. You're not going to be when you're not on the job, mistakes are going to be made. So you're going to have callbacks and you're going to have to pay someone. So for every time I get a callback, I figure that's $60 because I got two guys in a truck driving by to go fix it. So, I mean, that all starts to add up. And if you're only charging, if you're, if you're making $100 an hour while you're on the job doing the install, it's not going to be enough to really stay in business when you start employing people to actually do the job for you.
Right. Yep.
No, whatever you're doing, it's you're definitely
We're
growing.
actually we're actually going to be switching. We sold. So this is probably our fourth year actually going into lights. Like this is going to be our fourth year, and we used to sell all of our lights, and then we would charge a reinstall fee. And we tried to lease originally, but then leasing wasn't a thing, And so we used to get people turn us down all the time because of this lease. And then so we switched to selling, and then we started getting a lot of traction in selling. But we would give people a big discount the second year because, like, hey, you already purchased the equipment. This year, we'll just reinstall it for, what our cost is minus the equipment. So we give people a 25% discount. And, like, that's a we are not selling anymore. We are only going to be leasing. We lost multiple jobs this year because for me, I have to have a streamlined process for the year because we have multiple people quoting and multiple people talking. I can't just like on a whim change something in the middle of the season. And so we were selling last year. And so we had to stick to the plan. But we lost multiple jobs last year because the person asked us if they could lease. And we had to tell them, no, we don't lease. And we tried to sell them on it. But the reason is because another good buddy of ours that'll be on a stream here soon, I heard him say to a customer one time, the people that sell, you have no idea if they're actually going to come back and get their stuff down. I'm going to come take it because I own it. And I can't tell you how many people we go to, even right now, I can drive through neighborhoods and their Christmas lights are still up because whoever put them up off of some random Facebook group, they had no intentions of ever coming back and taking their lights down. They just wanted all the money up front. They install these cheap, Home Depot lights. They get all their money, and then they're going to ghost you and never show back up. So we are switching to the lease model because that's a common thing. And at the end of the season, people call us and say, hey, can you take our lights down? And it's like, well, yeah. I mean, so that's going to be our new model going forward is leasing. You can either sign a 3-year lease at a discounted rate, or you can sign a 1-year lease at a full rate.
Are you still going to sell at all, or?
So some commercial we do sell. Commercials, I'm a lot more flexible with commercial. Like Duke Energy is one of our big customers. Their headquarters out in Plainfield is our account, and they don't want anything to do with the lease because they're too big of a company, and it causes a lot of issues and more levels of people that they have to go through. Coca-Cola is one of our customers, and he wants to buy it. And he has, I don't know how much you know about the B2B world, but I used to sell for Xerox. So I used to sell in the B2B world exclusively. And you start to learn that these purchasing managers, these plant managers, they have a credit card, and they have a credit card limit of what they're able to spend. So he doesn't care what he's going to spend necessarily as long as it's within his plant's budget. But anything over $5,000, it raises a flag, and he has to answer for whatever that cost is. So we just push it through a charge. Let's say he's going to pay us $15,000 for this install. We just charge him 4 times on 4 different weeks. 1 week, $4,900. It goes through. He doesn't have to answer for it because it's under the $5,000 mark. The next week, we charge him another $4,900, and then another $4,900. So all these charges, they come in underneath his purchase card limit. So he never has to answer to any higher ups. So you just have to learn how to play the B2B game, and then you can start really winning those things. And somewhat similar to commercial, we do a municipality around here, and it's the same deal for them. You just have to know how to charge each location and how to divvy it up and stay within their budgets.
Yeah, I've done a couple municipal, and they seem to have more money if they buy it, because that comes from a different department than when you actually. So they'll buy it from one department, and then they'll have another budget for the labor to put it in. So it allows them to put up twice many lights if they have a purchase, and then they pay to install it.
Feel like Anderson, the city of Anderson, we were going to do their stuff last year, but their big hang up was they owned the stuff. They owned a lot of stuff. They also wanted to buy in the future. And so I'm cool with that, model. But they didn't have their street department. I believe it was their street department was the one that has to maintain all this stuff in the middle of wintertime. When they got to get ready for parades, they got to get ready, all their plows ready. They potentially have to plow. They have to do all these things in the winter. They have to suck up leaves. They have to yada, 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 yada. No, it wasn't the street department. It was the parks department. They have to do all these different things. And they're like, we don't have time to put up and maintain all these holiday decorations. So can you guys do it? Just give us a time and materials type ticket. What's it going to cost us every hour that you're doing this? And I'm cool with working like that,
So So yeah, I've run into a couple cities. They have materials from previous installers, and like some of it's working. They're asking us to repair it. But yeah, if sometimes in order to get the city job, you're going to have to work with what they have. And if they already have a budget, they tend to like to overspend a little bit and try to push the limits. It seems to be a lot of times when you work with the cities, like they have a budget, but there's someone if they're interested, especially when they're reaching out trying to get more bids, they're trying to do something a little different a lot of times, but they tend to like to push the budget. And I was told the reason why is because if they don't spend it all, if they have a
They
certain
lose
budget,
it.
next year the budget gets smaller. So
Yep.
they overspend it just a little bit, then next year the budget gets a little bigger. So that's what they try to do.
Yeah, it's all a game, and once you get inside in there and you become friends of them, you can expand those accounts really well. Like, let's add this, let's add that, and they're good with it. They don't care. It's not their money. We estimated the convention center the last 2 years, and I think it's just a waste of time, honestly. Like, they're going to go with the incumbent every year, and it's single Dow, and but we've gone in there with this, and I asked the lady, I said, so what's the budget on this? Because this was a 6-figure job, easy, you know. And I said, what's your budget on this? What do you have to stay under to be able to do this? And she said, what are you talking about, budget? We don't have a budget. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have a budget? She goes, oh, this is all taxpayer funded. I was like, so if it's taxpayer funded, you got to have a budget. She goes, no. She goes, all you have to do is get the approval of the next two people above my head, which are like the director of operations and someone else. She goes, if they like it and they sign off on it, the taxpayers will pay it. It doesn't matter what it is. They don't care about what the cost is. I was like, that makes sense of why our governments are so inadequate right now.
So I was working for one of the cities, and they got bigger every year. We still do a little bit of work for it. Well, to some degree, but it used to be our biggest account. But this year, the account is so big that they brought in a person from Chicago that was doing lighting and parks and recreation up in Chicago for one of their little suburbs. And like he came to work for the city of Plainfield. Oops, I said the city, but but he works in house now, and he does lighting design and everything, but he does other stuff throughout the year. But their budget was so big, it kept growing every year, and they finally just brought someone in house. So they still buy lights from us, which is fortunate. But so they actually were doing a fund.
Yeah, but I think that tide's going to turn. Like, because they might have someone in house, but when it gets big enough, they're not going to have the staff to do it.
The thing is that what they do in Plainfield is absolutely that city is next level. There's no one in the city that keeps up with Plainfield. Now, it was really nice to be their contractor for a number of years, but this last year,
did you put the stuff up on the street poles going down the main drag?
No, like 1 year they called us. They wanted us to refurbish it all. We almost got the contract for that, but it seemed like a lot of work. So I think Winterland does it, but they they have like a drive-through light show, and then they have a walk-through light show that they just added in the last 2 years. And that one was supposed to be a community fundraiser, and the goal was to make it. They said the goal is to make this self-funded. So I asked them. So I think it actually was the third year. This last year was the third year. So I asked them. So what is the plan to make this so that it's self-funded? They're like, well, they didn't have any kind of direction at all. I was like, how is this raising more money than last year? And they didn't have any answers at all. It's just basically they have the appearance that it's supposed to be self-funded, but there's no real.
That's just what they tell the public to make them
'cause
happy.
they're trying to get people to donate, but they have no one donating. So I mean, there is some people that's donating, but what they're adding to the budget is not even close to what more people are funding. But anyway, yeah, it's not like a business where they have to be profitable.
Right.
It's just
Oh yeah, it's great. It's crazy working for municipalities. It's absolutely insane.
No, that's big time. Like municipality, they have deep pockets. Now, Somerset really helped me understand this because, okay, Indiana is really like we're like a decade behind Denver, but Denver is their market is starting to get pretty mature. But so 10 years ago, Somerset said that municipalities that was the way to go because once you get your foot in the door, like they just keep growing and growing. Well, So when I was in Indiana, none of the cities would pull the trigger. It was just always out of their budget. I worked for a few, and it's always real small stuff. One of the ones I bid, I think multiple years, you end up getting the city of up there. Um,
Whitestown.
yeah, Whitestown. I bid that a couple times, and they never pulled the trigger. They just never had the budget. Like their budget was ridiculously small. But whatever they're doing now, they've definitely upped their budget. But what he said is like in Denver, none of the cities would ever go for it. But once a couple of cities get involved, they start getting extremely competitive. So you want to be on the leading edge of that. And I think that's where we're at in Indianapolis right now, where the city, you have different cities trying to outdo other cities. So their budgets just keep going up and up.
Like what's crazy now with like Whitestown is like they don't even ask for a bid. They just like go do this. Send me the bill. Like just go do these things. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's nice. So yeah, it's good. So I'm just anyone that's watching this, if you get a quote from the city, I tell people all the time, just get your foot in the door somehow, do some work for them, whatever it is. Don't even care if you're really all that profitable the first time working for them, because once they like you, then it's a lot easier to work with them in the future.
Yeah, and even if you break even year one, like all that stuff's paid for year one. So next year it's total profit. I mean, other than your labor, but you don't have to pay for the materials again, you know? So like working for the cities, I mean, you have to have enough money to be able to weather that, of course. But there's money to be made as long as you're going to play the long term and you're going to leave signs out in their properties and everybody sees them, you know?
So I want to at least point that out to all these guys that are going to watch this in the future or even right now. If you're a newbie and you are wanting to grow your Christmas light company and hearing like people do numbers, you're like, wow, I didn't even know it's possible. Everyone that actually does a serious Christmas light business, they're thinking about more than just they're thinking about the long game. They're not just doing it like throwing a ladder on their truck in November and trying to get a few jobs. Like they're strategizing all year. They're planning this out. They're thinking things through. It can't just be something that like you're working, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's Christmas light season. Like you have to really plan long term if you're going to be successful. So, Matt,
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many people coming into the industry, which is probably great for a business like yours, sucks for a business like mine. But my prediction is most of those people that come in are going to be out within a couple of years because maybe they were a painter or something like that, and their entire business was from all referral based, maybe. But now there's so many people that are coming into the Christmas light business. Like you have to know how to market. You have to know how to go get customers. You can't just work this business for referrals because you'll get burnt out. Like you won't make hardly any money, and you're hearing everybody making a lot of money, and then you're just gonna be like, "This sucks," you know. And then you'll be right back out a couple years later. And I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen. Like every year in Indianapolis, there's like 50 new companies. It seems like.
well, you have people like, I mean, Sam is the thing is he doesn't care if he's making money on Christmas lights because these are the ideal avatar for all the rest of the services he has for the rest of the year. So I don't know
Yeah,
how your customers double over you acquire them for Christmas, but then they end up taking some of your other services throughout the rest of the year. Does that
yeah,
happen to you?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not a huge percentage, but yes, they do.
Well, with Sam, he's got like every service that is. I don't even know how. That's what I want to ask him. But
Yeah, Samba's a genius. I mean, he's a very smart guy. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he runs a darn good business.
But so I think what you're going to see more and more in the future with Christmas lights, there's going to be more people like him, or that have a way to like the Christmas light customer is the ideal avatar for almost any business. So if you're in the home service business, like you want a Christmas light customer. So if you have other services to offer them throughout the year, once the like they're I have not found a service for Christmas or customers like you more at the end of the job than Christmas lights. I don't. Have you found
Oh,
it?
that's why I love Christmas lights. It's like you finish the job, and they instantly love you.
Yeah,
Instantly.
they think like you're just some like I don't. It's because you're like shifting. You're like the change of times. Like you're the official bringing in of Christmas into their life. So
Yeah.
it changes the whole dynamic of the rest of the end of the year for them when you put the lights up. So that's I don't know exactly why, but they just love you so much after you. I mean,
And
putting up
like David put a comment on here. David's in our town too, and he runs a good business. And he posted long term to build wealth. And like for him, it's genius because he has like an Airbnb business. And like I mean, I don't know if this is a strategy or not, but like all the money that he makes from Christmas lights, he could just go start and buy more properties. And then, I mean, seriously, like you could take it and maybe buy 2 or 3 properties every year from it, and then someone else starts paying the mortgage on those properties, and then boom, at the end of the year, maybe you have, in 10 years, maybe you got 30 or 40 properties that you got, and someone else is paying the mortgage, and then when you want to retire, you sell a couple houses. Like it's a genius. I don't know that that's a strategy, but it would be a sound strategy for sure.
So did you know we
Look, nailed it.
did you see that? Did you know we used to rent houses from David while we were staying in Indianapolis?
I didn't know that. No.
And he saw us doing Christmas lights, so he wanted to know more about it. So he started his own Christmas light business. I'm pretty sure he does 6 figures a year doing Christmas lights. He's got to be getting pretty close. But he just started because he saw us out there. We would rent a house for him for 3 months, a long-term rental, one of his Airbnbs, and then we would hang lights. And he's like, "Is there really money in this?" And then he's out hanging lights now.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's an awesome time. The other thing that really helped us was since we do have a separate business, which is formerly Green's Lawn Care, is now called Blue Duck Lawn Care. What I found was we started another brand called Indie Christmas Light Pros, and so we found that early on people saw us as a landscaping company that happened to dabble in Christmas lights. And then when we started, and we had a tough time trying to get traction the first year. And then when we launched Indie Christmas Light Pros, it was like a light switch went off. And instantly we gained all this credibility. Like people thought that we were nothing but Christmas light installers. Like something changed. It's like, no, it's the exact same people that were installing them last year, install them this year, But in their mind, we were experts at installing Christmas lights, and it was fantastic.
So my actual company name is Christmas Light Installers in Indianapolis, and I did that right from the very beginning because I just realized people think that like this is what I do year round. Well, it is now, but back then it was just like they would call me, like, "Is this Christmas Light Installers? Like, can you?" And they're asking me all these Christmas light questions, and it's like, what do these people think? I'm just sitting in my office all day long, just waiting for like estimates to come in about Christmas lights in the middle of July. And I used to think like, but people, they really, it's just the appearance. Like you're branded as a Christmas light company. They think you know more than a power washing company that happens to just do Christmas lights. Like as an add-on business, they tend to not think you're as pro as someone that just like indie Christmas light pros. I mean, if they really sat back and thought, they're probably going to figure it out that, what these guys don't do, they probably do something else the rest of the year. But as far as
as soon as our email automations go off, they're going to realize that we do something else also.
But in the moment when they're going to go online and they have the great idea, hey, let's hire something out. A lot of people are going to be marketing on Facebook and marketing on radio, whatever they do, but people aren't going to trust their yard signs. People are going to see yard signs everywhere. A lot of people will never call from a yard sign. They're going to go on Google and type in Christmas Light Company. And when they see, oh, this is Indie Christmas Light Pros, they're going to think, oh, this is the real pro. They're just going to call you. It's just, especially if you got good reviews, but they're not going to go for a landscaping company when it says that Earl's Landscaping or whatever, and then they're not going to. Well, I'm not going to call a landscaper do my Christmas lights. I want a professional Christmas light company. But that is a huge tip that's helped me from the very beginning.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you a little tip that somebody, and I'm not going to tell you how to get into these places. Whoever is watching this is going to have to figure it out themselves. But I got connected with a person that helps with like building new developments and such. And when they're building, we installed Christmas lights for them. And so then at some point, the people who are doing the development pass it over to an HOA. And so then that HOA has to maintain it. Well, if you get the contract when it's the development and the developers don't care, like, because that all these costs are getting passed along. If you get in with the development, and then when they have to get like 75% occupancy, and then they turn it into they turn over the keys essentially to the HOA. Anything that developer did, and they turned it over to the HOA, becomes like a contract forever. Like they can't cancel it.
Wow.
So like we have this development, couple of them that we did Christmas lights on, and then when they turn it over to the HOA, like the HOA can't be like, I don't want to do Christmas lights this year. It's like a never-ending contract that's 100% legally binding that they have to maintain because that's how it was turned over to them.
Now that's
And I was like, that's
so
wild.
I reached out to a couple of home builders to do lights on them, but they want to pay next to nothing for you to do one of their display homes. But I guess if you're playing the long game, it'd be worth getting your foot in the door because it sounds like you're permanently bonded.
You're a permanent fixture now.
Wow, that is pretty cool, huh? I know some home developments around where, huh? That's pretty interesting. So anyone that's new, like anyone that's watching this, oh, let's see here. Let's see what Mark has to say. So this is one of my employees. Okay, Mark, he's one of the lead installers in the country. I put him next to any installer in the country. He'll outdo anyone. But we got that is gold. I mean, I'm thinking of all these home builders now. It's probably worth getting your foot in the door.
I'll tell you, it wasn't a home builder. It wasn't a home builder. It wasn't somebody that builds these subdivisions. It was a different type of development.
But it sounds like
think of Bottle Works downtown. When they were building that, whoever was developing it, when they turned that over, if you got in early and you did all of Bottle Works, like you would have Bottle Works forever. I would love to go after Bottle Works. Like think about turning Bottle Works into what Christmas Kindle Market is. Like have them put in a skating rink, a 60-foot tower tree, like light the whole place up and make downtown like this place that wants to go.
So if you can get in your foot in the door, if you know anyone with the, what is it called? Christendom or whatever?
Christmas Kindle Market.
Yeah, Chris's Kindle Market. Like I want to put like a castle up there, a big tower tree. They got that big open field. If you can get your foot in the door, any house, any way,
Ingledale, that's an Ingledale property. Ingledale owns that.
Okay, well, if you can get your foot in the door somehow, we can go halves on it or something. But I want to put a castle there, and people, I'm sure people would. They get 500,000 people there. I mean, they should.
Oh, it's insane! It's the number one Christmas Kindle Market in the United States.
Yeah, if I would love to somehow get something up there, like our light show. If we put parts of the big displays there, you could get probably 100,000 people just to go over there. But anyways, I don't have any ins. I don't know who to talk to.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that the city does a lot of that work. So Carmel's street department does all of their stuff, but Ingledale helps with that. Ingledale does a lot of Christmas lights.
So David says we'll go a third to third to third. He'll get us a foot in the door.
There you go. Yeah, get us a foot in there, David. And
that's what I want. Anyone else that's still watching, I want to let you guys know. Look, your competitors don't have to be like your enemies. So there's some people that hate my guts in Indianapolis. Now I've tried to reach out. I try to be friendly to all my competitors, but some of them don't want to reciprocate. So I'm still going to be nice to them. I'll still throw them jobs. Some people that can't stand me, I've thrown them jobs, and they still don't like me. So. I mean, because I understand I'm training people and teaching them how to step in their turf. But the thing is, if you really put in the research, put in the time, you can figure out how to still dominate your market. There's a new guy in Indianapolis that is a college student that is just growing in leaps and bounds in Indianapolis. And he's done a lot of market research. He understands how to market. And so if you don't want to learn and don't want to move with the times and update your marketing tactics, you're probably gonna get left behind. But if you're constantly looking and figuring stuff out, you're going to stay ahead of the crowd, and you're going to do fine. So, and you got.
I think it's absolutely imperative to know other installers. I have installers around us that we buy a lot of product, and sometimes they get in a pinch and they need product. I think last year I couldn't find it. No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before last. I couldn't find any. We call it blank line or jumper line, like the
Yep.
extension cord stuff. Nobody
3 years.
had any of those things. I
Yep.
think you guys were out of it. I called like 5 other people. Everyone was out of it. And there was only one person I could find that had it. And it was a little more expensive. It was Ewing Irrigation had some. And so I went up there because they sell some lights. And I went up there and bought their entire stock of it. And I was like, look, if you have a job, I guess you better give it to me because, like, I'm the only one that has any of the stuff left over, you know? And, but then I had people that asked me, like, hey, you know what? And, you know, if they were just some person off the street, I'd be like, nah, I'm not helping you out. But, like, if you called me, if David called me and said, hey, Sam called me and said, hey, you know what? Like, I'm in a pinch. I need just this little bit. Like, sure, here you go. I'll help you out, you know? And it's important to have those connections because if you're in a pinch and you need some help, like I feel like I could call a lot of people and they could help bail me out of whatever that thing is. And I would 100% do the same thing. And then, you know, last year, man, Sam got this account for me and it was a big HOA. And like, it was like a lot of money. It was over $15,000. And I was so pissed. But in the time I was mad. I was super happy for him, but it teaches you, you know, like, and then like we aren't going to talk during the season, me and him. But after the season, sure, we'll get together and we'll talk. Hey, what went well? What didn't go well? But you know, at the same time, if he took it from me, it clearly meant that I missed the boat somewhere. I slipped up, I missed it, and you can learn from other people in our industry of like, why did I lose this job to you when I literally had this job the previous year and somehow he got it away from me. And you know what's funny? I still have like $6,000 of that HOA's like material in my warehouse that they're never getting back.
You're still
No, he sold them all brand new stuff and they took it and I probably still have 130 strands of mini lights for that HOA in my warehouse.
Well, you can use that somewhere else.
I'm going to use them somewhere else. Heck yeah. But why did I lose that in the first place? You know? And then we talked about it and I was like, yep, that's it. You know, they didn't care about the cost. Like the cost had nothing to do with it, but they wanted a certain look. And I was like, this isn't possible. And lo and behold, I drive past it one night and Sam did this thing. And I was like, how the hell did you do this? Like, you know, they have like 3 sets of trees, one going down each side of the street and then one going down the middle. And all these trees are like grown totally together. It's like one massive canopy. And they wanted each of the trees wrapped. And I was like, dude, there's absolutely no way you can do this unless you trim the trees. And they weren't happy with that. They were like, I'm going to go find somebody who can do this. And Sam said, yeah, I can do this. And sure enough, I show up one night and all those darn trees were wrapped, like canopy wrapped. I was like, how in the world did he do this? You know? And so I think it's really good to have good competition around you and to know them so then they can help you down the road. You know, as long as you guys are mutually helping each other, like there's 2.9 million people in Indianapolis. Like there is so much work here, you know, like I couldn't handle it all. You couldn't handle it all. Like nobody in this group, everybody from Indianapolis in this group couldn't handle all the work in Indianapolis. Like there's so much work. So there's no point in like fighting each other over it.
I mean, there's times that I've asked a guy, hey, will you go fix this job? I just need a GFI reset. And they'll go up and reset the GFI for me. And then sometimes they never ask me to go help them, but sometimes they will too. I'd help them. But it's just good to be friendly with your competitors. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes you work. I've actually worked together because I know the jobs are just too big for me, so I'll have to bring in help. Sometimes people can be subs for you, and then they'll still be doing their own thing. Because if you're having a tough time with some jobs, like I was thinking of David, if you're having a tough time with some jobs, just be friends with some of the installers, and on a bigger job that you know it's a little bit beyond what you're going to be there forever. See if they'll come help you. A lot of times they're going to charge you less than they would charge a homeowner, just because they know that there's more of a future with you than with now. Don't work with people who are going to try to steal your customer. But generally, most contractors are not going to try to steal your customer if you're like working on the same job together. If they are, like
they're sleazy and they're going to burn a bridge. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're probably going to get that feeling
once you get that reputation, you can't get rid of it though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So this is Matt Green. He's actually doing some trainings, I think, in a couple weeks down in Georgia. So I mean, people are starting to seek him out, and he's teaching whole companies other landscape. He's real big in the, or they know him in the landscaping world. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, for this is only your fourth year doing Christmas lights.
yeah.
Yeah, you've really, yeah, you're gonna definitely outdo me for. I mean, yeah, just but part of the thing is everyone's learning from stuff that we learn not to do. So, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, 100%. I believe you taught the guy that I learned from, and I learned from him. I went down and he taught me everything, and he learned because he knew you, and um, everybody learns from someone else, and it's totally fine. And like, I love one. I also love buying product from you guys because you're so helpful. But if I'm stuck somewhere, I could also just give you a phone call and I know that you're going to answer it and you're going to be like, this is how you fix that problem. That's one benefit I know that buying from Christmas light contractors is that if I call you, you're 100% going to help me out. Like I know, I believe that in my heart. And not every person that I've bought Christmas lights from, some of them are just companies and they have absolutely no idea what they're just selling product. But I can't call them. They're not going to help me out. They're not that level of support, you know? And that's the benefit of buying from you guys. Or one of them. You guys are like an absolute wealth of knowledge.
well, I do think that we have kind of like a hive mind inside of our community, and so anyone that's a part of it ends up learning. Uh, Trying to learn on your own, you're not going to learn near as fast as like you just start to realize what other people are doing. It's working for them. So, like, just knowing you're getting in Indianapolis over $40 a strand of minis, like that just really irks me because I hate minis because we don't charge enough.
Well, so we don't estimate minis before we get to a job. We tell them like, hey, this is your roof line cost, and when our tech gets to your house, they know like they've done these minis so much that they're going to tell us how much it costs to wrap whatever you want to wrap. You want to wrap a tree? They're going to say this thing needs 27 strands or 13 strands, or do you want to wrap it or do you want to canopy wrap it? Do you want to do these shrubs? And so we sell it all. We sell mini lights on the job site. We don't estimate it ahead of time for two reasons. One, I want to have an accurate like idea of how much this is really going to cost because I can't tell over a picture. Half the pictures on YouTube. I'm sorry, it's kind of loud maybe, but half of the pictures online are 3 or 4 years old. So those shrubs, trees, they're outdated. They're not close to being that size anymore. And two, if I estimate them on site, that drives what you think is the average ticket. It looks lower. So a customer is going to be like, oh, it's $1,300 as opposed to sending them something for $2,700. Like
Yeah,
they're going to take that $1,300 and then you can upsell them the next $1,000 when you get on the site. You already
that
got the job. What are they going to say? No, I don't want to do the mini lights. No, they're going
That
to do
is
them.
crazy. That is really that's gold. Anyone that's still listening, they just got probably the best tip of the whole hour-long interview right there. That I have not heard anyone in the country doing that. And that is definitely you should start
Why do
your
you
own.
think plumbers don't tell you how much it's going to cost to fix your water heater?
That is
They're going to
crazy.
charge. They're going to charge
That
you $85 trip charge, and then when you get there and you have the person that's going to fix your thing there, and they're like, "This is going to cost you $700." Are you going to say no? I want to take another cold shower tonight, or are you just going to say, "Well, I guess I could get another estimate and maybe save myself $100, but is it really worth another night of a cold shower?" No, you're just gonna be like, yeah, just go ahead and do it. You're already
That's
here.
the best tip I've ever heard in a couple of years. I mean, that's the thing. I keep growing in my understanding of Christmas lights, and you think that you know so much, and then you hear something like this, and it's like, I could be so much more profitable if I'd have taken that approach. Because yeah, you just realize like the sticker shock, you're getting rid of all of that. That's incredible, man. Anyone that watched this and got that for free, you guys are just gonna grow your business and not even realize what just got handed to you. Like that's like for 14 years, I've never even heard that before. But that is gold. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
it doesn't work on commercial because commercial has to have a hard number, but for residential, it 100% works.
You just changed all the Christmas like contractors in a way that most communities probably going to do estimates for forever now. That is crazy.
Well, the customer is going to say, Well, I'm not comfortable just like not knowing how much this is going to cost. And I was like, well, look, I'm just a sales guy. You know, the guys that are going to install and actually know how much it's going to take are the ones that are coming out to your house. If I guess, I'm going to guess high, you know, because I need some wiggle room. What if I mess up on this guess? Like, we want the true professionals that are out there at your house. We want them to be the one that's going to tell us exactly how much it's going to take.
I mean, I'm just thinking like I have like to be honest, like I have a VA that writes estimates or that does the mock-ups, and then I like concepts. It's awesome, but the mini lights is can be like make or break a job. Like it could be like, wow, they really bid this one right, but more often you're like, what in the world? It got this right and this right, but this is like it's like in order to make the I don't like to. My policy is with my employees look, whatever it takes to make the job look good. Like we are not going to have a job look bad. We just won't. So whatever it takes to make the job look right, that's what we're going to do. But sometimes we end up like really taking a loss for on the minis. Now Donovan's different. He will confront the homeowner. He tells his guys confront the homeowner, call the office, say we need to get this bid right before they'll install. I don't want to. It sometimes causes drama, so I just put it up, put a note that next year I got to raise their rates. But this would solve so many of my problems just doing that. That is
It speeds everything up. It speeds your estimating up. It speeds your guys up. They just take out mini lights. You know, like they don't have to. You know, because so what if you say, hey, this tree is going to take 10 strands of lights on the phone. You know, and then you show up, your guys show up, and they put up 10 strands of mini lights, but it doesn't look very good. You know, because everyone's totally different. So if I send Jeff out to go wrap a tree, he's going to wrap it the same every single year. So he knows how many strands he needs to wrap that tree and make it look good. But if I pre-sold it, he might have to, and I guessed wrong, he might have to try and make that tree look good with 7 strands of mini lights. And then it's going to look like junk, you know? So it becomes really hard. And then the next year, our problem is, okay, so we sold him 20 strands of mini lights for this tree, and we know what it looks like. It looks good when we install it. But then the next year, how can you take that exact same 20 strands and make it look perfect again, even though you know that that tree grew another foot and it's wider and it takes more strands? You know, how do you make sure that it still looks great with 20 strands of lights? Well, you can't. So you just tell them, hey, it's going to cost a little bit more every year.
Well, so but your contract, like on Jobber, I can't really amend the price once they've already. So do you send out a separate contract for that, or you just amend the contract?
No, we can update ours. Like after the job's done, I can still adjust the.
I think I can with Jobber too. It's not as legally binding anymore, but because the Jobber we keep their card on file so we can bill them after the job's done. But I prefer not to do that because I've had so many customers come unglued for zapping their card. I don't know what your guys.
I've had. Yeah, we do the same thing. I mean, some customers are going to call us, but it's here. It's a small amount of those people that are going to call you. I mean, we might get 5 to 10 a year that are like up in arms. It's like, shut up, pay the bill. You know?
Yeah, almost every one of them that is upset about it, they're customers that don't really probably want to work for anyway. So when I end up losing them, it doesn't bother me.
But maybe that's why I buy so many mini lights from you guys. I don't know.
Man, this guy, like I said, he's almost our biggest mini light in the country. Now, I mean, there's some guys that have commercial accounts where they buy them just by the pallet, but I mean, like this guy consistently just keeps buying more and more, and I couldn't figure out how he's doing it. But this live interview, he just educated me. So, guy's been doing Christmas lights for 4 years, just schooled me on how to install lights. So, or the sales process, and really the whole part about Christmas lights, their sales process is the most important part of your business. So, your whole marketing and sales process, that is what drives your business. So, if you can't bid a job to be profitable, you're not going to get very far into the Christmas light industry. So, you got to be profitable and you got to be a good marketer. So, yeah, this guy is killing it and he's crushing it and he's crushing his competitors, and I just happen to be one of them.
Yeah, well, you stole some of my properties last year too, so it's all good.
Yeah, he goes back and forth. So some people actually just rotate to different companies. They just rotate. Sometimes
we have this house off 57th Street, and she said, "Oh, I'm not doing lights this year on Drive Past, and your sign's out front." And I'm like, that liar.
So
and,
I will say,
so I call her back. I was like, "Hey, you got lights on?" She goes, "Well," so for years, actually, still today, we only, unless it's commercial, we only install warm white lights. I won't install any other color light on your house. Absolutely won't, because it takes too much time. I want to get all these 1,000-foot strands of spools lit ahead of time, so when the guys are in the field, all they're doing is stringing up houses. They don't have to spin bulbs into the things. Like, it just makes you super efficient by only going with one color. And then mini lights, it doesn't matter. You can have whatever color mini lights you want. But having to put bulbs in, like, could you imagine going out to a house and they'd be like, oh, I want red, green, blue, and orange. And then you have to, like, how much time does that take of customizing every single one? And so I went out to this house and she was like, oh, well, I wanted colored lights. So I hired somebody else. I was like, oh, fair enough. I wasn't going to do that. And so we lose jobs because we won't do colored lights. Like, for commercial, we'll do colored lights, but for residential, there's no way I'm doing a colored light on anybody's house.
Wow, you're definitely,
like, that's my customer avatar.
Yeah, you're definitely leaving the door open for competitors, though. But
yeah, that's great. And you know what? If they ask for it, I'll give them 2 or 3 other people's names. You want colored lights? Perfect. Here, call these guys. They'll do it for you. Wow. I'm not doing it.
I mean, yeah, you're not hurting for work, so. Wow. I'm so glad that you came on the live, especially at the last minute. So anyone that watches this, like, your whole trajectory of your business is just like gone. Like, it's just crazy. So I'm sure that this is going to become industry standard over the next few years, because that is ingenious. I don't know if you learned that from someone else, but that is, like, I'm just seeing so many hurdles being overcome by that one tip. That is just phenomenal.
No, I came up with that myself. I didn't know how any other way to estimate lights. I couldn't go out to everybody's house, and I couldn't do it accurately from a picture. So I was like, well, we'll just figure it out when we get there. And so I wrote my estimate description up of, like, hey, this is what it costs for one strand of mini lights. And we allow customers to say, hey, I don't want to spend over $500 on mini lights. And they're like, okay, so that means you get 20 strand of mini lights. So when our technicians get out there, they know that they have 20 strands of mini lights. They'll tell you what is going to look the best. Maybe it's this shrub and this shrub and this tree or something. That's what you can get for $500. And so we'll work with people in their budgets. If they only want to spend that much money, fine. But if not, they just let us go wild. And then we tell them, hey, we use 75 strands of lights and it's going to be $4,000.
Man, yeah, you got a good business going. So good thing going. Well, hey, you should. I was thinking you're a landscaper. You don't get into the bistro lights, the patio lights. These new twinklies that I just saw in the last week.
I saw those. I saw you put those up. Yeah.
You should put them in your backyard. I'm telling you, they're pretty cool. They're a little pricey, but changing them with your phone is just incredible. I haven't seen that before.
We have bistro lights out there, but not the twinkly ones.
Well, no, they just came out. So they came out last year, but they sold out instantly. So we're really one of the first ones to have them this year. And I think that, yeah, once people see them, and especially landscapers, I guess they're selling a lot right now at Site One. But it's pretty cool. Have you seen how Twinkly works? You take a picture with your phone, and it programs your phone where each light bulb is. So you could put, like,
oh, that's cool.
You could put hundreds of them in the all candy cane effect together. So if you have like a big commercial install, they'd be pretty cool. But
I'll say, I know we probably got to get off here, but I'll give everybody one more tip. So going back to who you can subcontract with, find people who are going to sell your services to. I found a guy last year that he does interior design work, and he's 100% referral based. Like, you're not going to find him anywhere. And his customers are the top 1% of the Indianapolis living people here. And he's got, like, I don't know, 50 to 100 like mansions that he decorates for every single holiday. He decorates, and it's like him. And if he needs people, he'll do those. But he does not want to get on roofs to do lights. And all of his customers want lights on the exterior of their house. So guess who gets to do all of his lights? I do, because he does the entire interior. I do the exterior. I put his stuff on my website, so he gets leads from me. So we have an interior designing aspect of our website. If somebody comes in and they're willing to spend the money, then we'll send them over to him. He'll subcontract us for the lights. And so we get work from them that way. So find those people, find interior designers and things like that you can work with, and they will help find you business. But those are,
because I get requests all the time for people wanting to do interior work, and I was like, no, that's and currently I don't know a person, but I have throughout the years known some people, and I'd just say just call these people, call these. But I never thought I could promote it to them because obviously anyone that's doing interior, like I have a rich uncle, and he pays a lot of money to have people decorate the inside of his house, but he pays a lot of money to have people do the outside of his house, and they're clearly different people. Usually, the interior people are not the same as the outside. So that is also a goal.
So if you want to find one, I'm sure you can pull a report out of Jobber. Find your residential houses that spend anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 with you every year. I'm sure you have a couple of them at least, and call them and say, hey, do you have an interior designer? I'm looking for a referral. I have some other customers that are looking for somebody. Do you have somebody? And then they're going to say, oh yeah, I have Sally Joe. She's fantastic. And yada, yada. Hey, can you pass me their phone number? And then now you've got a connection. Say, hey, I'll take you out to lunch. I'll take you out to dinner, breakfast, whatever you want. I just need to pick your brain a little bit. I have work I want to send you. And then they're going to be like, oh, that's great. Yeah.
Like
and then now you got that person. And guess what? You have all of that person's work, all of their houses that they do interior design work. Those are now going to be your customers if you can get that person to know, like, and trust you.
This is crazy. It's like the longer people stay on this, the more this is some of the best stuff I've ever heard. Because I'm just thinking all the years that I referred people to other interior people, I should have been networking with them and promoting it. You could probably market that you have interior design, get leads super.
I do, because some people want interior design. And guess what? This year we're going to start selling Christmas trees, artificial Christmas trees. And when I come and put your lights up, I'm going to deliver your Christmas tree. I'm not putting ornaments on it. But I'll guarantee that the lights are going to work, and I'm going to put the Christmas tree up in your house, and I'm going to charge you a $400 delivery and storage fee.
So
at the end of the year, it's going to be a fake tree, and I'll store them with your lights. And then at the end of the year, you just have to make sure that your ornaments are off by the time that we're coming to pick them up, and then we'll take your tree down and we'll store it in our warehouse too. And every year you pay us $400 to store them.
So I know guys that do that already, and I was going to do it one year, but then I found out interior guys are different than exterior, and so my guys that work for me are not going inside of houses. So, but anyways, if you do it, a company that does it is really big in it. They will actually come in and they'll saran wrap. You can leave the ornaments, everything. They saran wrap the whole tree, and then they put it in a bag, and then they store it. So if you saran wrap it all, it keeps it all intact. So
interesting. That's a good idea.
Yeah, they do that, but I never thought about people that do interior stuff, and then they would feed you, because anyone that's paying for someone to interior decorate, it probably has the money to pay someone to do the exterior. But it probably goes.
Yeah.
That
absolutely.
Is
absolutely.
Do you know who you're going to get your trees from? Because I'm trying to work a deal with Balsam. Maybe
I don't. I have no idea. So Sullivan's Hardware does this in town.
Well, but
I don't know where they buy their stuff from, but their trees are awesome, and they're expensive. They're like $2,000 a tree, but they are like, I've never seen fake trees as nice as the ones at Sullivan's.
Well, Balsam's in Indianapolis, so I'm trying to work a deal with them because we might want to sell some of their products. But they're like the biggest. They got the best greenery, best trees in the United States. They're right in Indianapolis. They have a big warehouse there, so I'm trying to network with them. So if I find out something about it, I'll let you know.
Yeah, then let me know, because I'll buy all my Christmas trees through you guys. What I ultimately want is to be able to buy them and just drop ship them to my warehouse, so I don't have to buy like a ton of them at a time.
So I'm sure that Balsam, they're sending them out all over the country. They have a giant warehouse in Indianapolis, and they ship out nationwide from there. So anyways, I got to find out more about that. But yeah, I got to get going. I have another appointment. But wow, anyone that hasn't watched this or just watched the tail end, there's some definite gold in this. Like, this is going to help me be very profitable this year. So I mean, my own install business, I was worried about some stuff, but yeah, one of the biggest issues I have is mini lights. So what I always do, I just overbid it, because I hate being on a job that's underbid, but you definitely lose jobs by overbidding the mini light work. But this would be
that's why you don't bid them up front.
Yeah, that's
people like, I don't want to spend $7,000. Yeah,
David Merle. Yeah, I'm telling you, anyone. I don't care if you're a seasoned vet. Like, I'm 14-year installer, and I just learned some gold in this interview. So this is a 4-year installer. I know David Merle's been installing for a long time, but I'm telling you, there's some stuff. This is worth rewatching. This is incredible information here. So don't ever think you know everything. There's always more stuff you can learn. It's some good stuff. So
cool.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in, and Yeah, I have a good time, I guess, training down in Georgia. So, wow,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
big
It's
time,
gonna be
man.
at the end of this month.
You're a big brain. You think outside the box. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's about my only good quality, I think.
Okay, all right. You take care.
All right, see you, buddy.